What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today when I talk to you about Lucid, I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what's really moving it today, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is definitely having a fairly interesting day, down 2.74%, 212 the low, 221 the high. You're seeing, on a side note though, a lot of volumes, 110 million shares being traded, 140 is the average. Most of that though is coming from algorithmic trading, because by looking at both the secondary market and the dark pool, you're not really seeing that much in transactions. So these are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool above $100,000. Like I said, nothing significant. And then looking at the secondary market, you did see so far 5 transactions, 1 buy, 4 sells. So big money's not really doing all that much with Lucid aside from possibly selling. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from that, on a macro standpoint, we did have some relatively good data. So we had manufacturing, also services coming in somewhat in line or better than anticipated. So relatively good stuff for that. This whole week is a Fed speaker type of week. So almost every single day you have 3 Fed speakers, and one of which was Bowman, who did signal that there's an openness to cut rates. So this was one of the biggest attributing factors why a lot of stocks did start to move higher. And even prior to that, during the pre-market, there was a very nice recovery, only because it looks as though that the market did already price in the States kind of striking Iran. So I think at the end of the day, that's a good thing. But as you can kind of see, we are starting to get dragged down, because it looks like there is a preparation for a counter against American bases. So again, it looks like there's going to be more of a escalation, but I think logically that was kind of the writing on the wall. So let me know your general thoughts on that. Specific to Lucid, there hasn't really been all that much in news, no SEC filings. Even on social media, nothing really worthwhile to bring up. So I think Lucid investors are kind of just waiting for the next big catalyst, whether it be some sort of partnership or just a ramp up in production. Lucid investors are just at the mercy of the broader market as of right now. But shorts surprisingly aren't doing all that much. They are increasing 219,000 shares. 30.6% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 377.3 million shares overall are being shorted. And this is typically what shorts do, is whenever the market goes down because of a true data point, a macro data point, then they tend to increase and be a little bit more active. But today, with it getting dragged down because of geopolitical type of scenarios, this is where shorts tend to just sit back and let institutions and algorithmic trading really push down the market. So this is why they're not increasing a significant amount or doing all that much today. So let me know your viewpoint on that. Looking at options, 1.23 million in calls, 201,000 in puts. 51% of all the options being done are neutral in nature. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, the reason why it is neutral is because it's not oriented towards the bid or the ask. So it's really hard to distinguish whether it's bullish or bearish. But 672,000 in premiums between 935 and 940. And if we kind of look at this, it is fair to assume that the neutral one right here, which was 555,000 and 105, a $2 call and a $2.50 call, well, both were sells. So ultimately bearish. And the reason why I'm saying it was bearish is because pretty much I look at a lot of different stocks. I have many different YouTube channels, and during this same type of peak, when the market was at its kind of highest for the day, you had a lot of institutions doing bearish options. So it is fair to assume that those neutral ones were really bearish. So again, not here to sugarcoat it. It is what it is. But aside from that, though, you do see the bulls very optimistic still that it will be roughly around that 250 by the end of this week. Bears are now anticipating for it to be sub 2. So you kind of have a pivot point, and where it is right now at 213, there's a little bit more upside versus down. But with it at 213, it is right below this S1. So 214 is going to be that key pivot. You really want to watch for it to close above today if you are going to see a nice recovery in the next couple of trading days. And then 211 followed by 205 is going to be the next strong support levels. Tesla definitely is getting its time today, up 8 8.42%. So this goes to show exactly what the market does value: innovation and just other revenue sources. So if Lucid does somehow conjure something together, has some sort of partnership, clearly same type of scenario could happen for Lucid. They just need to do something. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from that, no new analyst ratings, no real articles coming out or anything, just a lot of things from Motley Fool. They've been very active, and I think they're trying to target a lot of those stocks that people do typically look at, and then they just throw together some clickbait title or whatever. So is Lucid Group a millionaire maker stock? And honestly, there still is a good opportunity for Lucid to do that, for them to come to fruition and make a lot of people very rich. But they need to really, like, this year 2025 is that key make it or break it year. If they somehow mess up sometime this year, that's going to potentially have then very substantial impact to the midsize. And the midsize is that like do or die. If the midsize flops, Lucid essentially does flop. So it's a lot of pressure for Lucid, but I do feel that Lucid has what it takes in the management to actually get it done. But they, like I said, they can't slip up or kind of wait any longer. So let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. Do you think that this is a buy the dip type of opportunity, potentially going into World War III, or do you think that this is just the start of something even bigger, more of a pullback? Because I did see Trump even mentioned, kind of responded to Putin and Russia, how they did state that they were going to supply Iran with nukes. So it's definitely, things could get very heated very fast, but let me know your general thoughts on that. On the actual chart, the only thing to really bring up is stochastic RSI is neutral. So it's not really overbought nor oversold, but today it is still below all the key pivotal moving averages. So 50, 100, and 200. And currently it is below that ALMA. So essentially you're seeing just a broader pullback occur. So let me know your viewpoint on Lucid. What do you think the next big catalyst is? And are you buying? Are you selling? What's your kind of 2 cents on all that? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.